Well, when we first talked initially about what the mural was going to be, what the purpose was for creating this mural, I thought I wanted to be able to have something that would welcome the viewer, regardless of where you come from or how far home is, because I realized that a lot of First Nations, Métis and Inuit students come from far to come to school here. So it's nice to be able to be welcomed. It's nice to be able to see something that makes you feel some connection to the spirit of the land, or the spiritual nature of where you're at. And as you know, this is our ancestral land of our people. So there's a sense of connecting to the land. There's a sense, of understanding, the spiritual nature of the land, and the richness, of our culture, the richness of our history here in Blackfoot territory. And there's so many wonderful landmarks, and there's stories, that connect us to place. And places have stories. We have names for the mountains. We have names for how things have evolved here, and a lot of the rock cairns, that are here in southern Alberta, in Blackfoot territory, are reflective of our connection to the land, our connection to, the spiritual essence of life. Yeah. So when I think about what I wanted the image to look like, I wasn't really sure what it was going to look like. I just knew that as I kept in mind what my main focus was, and that was for the FNMI students here at the college. I just begin my own process with painting, and I begin applying color, and I kind of work with layers of color when I'm painting. So it's kind of like a playful thing, that I do, and it's something that I really enjoy. And so when I created this, and all the while I'm thinking about what does it mean? What is the title for it? And I'm thinking, okay, well, I wanted this to be reflective of who I am, as a First Nations artist. And I kept thinking, and I'm keeping in mind too what the focus is, what my title's going to be, what my influences are, what my experience has been. And so I'm going through this process of creating and applying layers of paint, and this was so massive. This is like, I got tired a few times, but it was so exciting once it got going. And at one point, the image, I think I had 7 individuals in there, and they were all old people. And then I kept pushing it, and then I ended up covering the whole thing, and I thought, okay, well, just keep going. And then all of a sudden, what came back were the images of 8 individuals. And then as I began working more and more with the individuals and what they were reflecting, they just all became really young. And it was so wonderful. That was just like, when I worked on each individual portrait of what you see, it was like at the end of each one, I was just like in awe. I just had to stand there and I was so humbled by it, And with working with that, I wanted it also to reflect my own process, as an artist, and how, working with paint. I didn't want it to be just a realistic documentation of portraits, but I wanted it to reflect my own process of how I work with paint, and to create the impression of, or create the illusion of, but at the same time mixing that in with something that is realistically you could see through, and then also something that is kind of abstract. You're not really sure what it is, but it's there's something that's happening up, up on top of them, and I'm thinking of the land. I'm thinking of, you know, the sunrises, the sunsets, and I was also thinking about, you know, how when you look in Blackfoot territory, a lot of these high points have markings in the rocks at all of these high points, you know, across Blackfoot territory. And I was thinking of the petroglyphs, the pictographs, and writing on stone, and those as well, and how those also depict a part of our history. And so I wanted to include that, and I just become so involved in, you know, trying to create something that is unique, but also at the same time trying to create something that is a reflection of who I am, and as a First Nations artist, but also as a mother and grandmother, you know, and as depicts.